Hello everyone, Scrapbooking Saundra here, and I'm back with another layout. This layout is the sister page to Summer Camp and a part of the series Layering Gone Wild. I'm starting with two photos. One photo I stamped with jet black stays on ink, and the other is a photo of my daughter and I. We're called Adventure Girls because we're always going on some adventure together. What I'd like to do here is try to recreate that mountain scene in the background of the photo with my daughter and I in it. I've taken cheesecloth, crunched it all up, and I'm covering it with Mod Podge. It came out pretty nice. It has lots of texture and you can see it's pretty layered. And what I'm thinking of doing is covering it with watercolors, blues, green, brown, yellow, and see if I can just use those colors to do the background. But the watercolors came out a little too pastel for me. And so I switched to metallic paint, using the same colors, the blue, gold, green, um, but a metallic base paint. And I just swished the brush back and forth all over it in all the different colors until I got exactly what I wanted. And this is the end product, or the end of all the swishing and mixing of colors. And I like the way it came out. I will do my best not to cover it all up with my photos. So I'm thinking at this point, since I really like how the background came out, I don't really want to cover it all up. Looks pretty cool. So to give it just a little bit more sheen, I'm going to cover it up with a little bit of glossy Mod Podge, just to add a little bit of sheen here and there. I think I'm done here with my mountain terrain, and I will set it aside, let it dry, and you're going to have a little teaser here. For the sister page, the summer camp page, I would like to take a little piece of the colors and what I have on this page over to the opposite page. So I just took a piece of cheesecloth, covering it with the exact same colors that I use for the mountain terrain here, and I'll let it dry, and I'll connect that video to this video if you'd like to see what becomes of that piece of cheesecloth. Tease, tease, tease. So we're all nice and dry here, just taking a closer look. And you can see the different like levels that the cheesecloth has. Came out pretty neat looking. Hopefully that looks like the mountain background scene in the photo. And I'm just going to use that one photo, most definitely. So the other photo with the stamp will pop up in another layout in this Adventure Girl series of layouts. I will not cover up the surrounding area of the photo. That I will leave uncovered. That would be a shame after all that work to cover it back up. What I'll try to do is cover up the white space only underneath the photo. You know, just to layer it out a little bit. And the pieces that I'm using that are already pre-cut that you see around me are the same things that I'm using on the sister page. So let's get started on this. So choosing paper for this layout was relatively easy, mainly because I have a lot of paper, maybe too much, but basically I had a picture in my head, which was where we ended up. We ended up at Summer Camp Music Festival, which is an awesome festival to go to. But what I wanted to try to pick up were the colors in our campsite. We stayed in an area called the Woods, and a lot of people hang up tapestries, and it's very colorful. It was just a beautiful area to camp at. And so thinking of all the different colors I saw and the different prints on the tapestries and how people dressed, it was very like Woodstock, hippieville kind of place. So nothing really had to match kind of thing. Um, because I just wanted to blend a multitude of colors, a multitude of patterns, and see where that leads me. And that's the fun thing about layering. You really don't have to have everything match perfectly. So it really fit. The different colors and patterns fit the story that I'm telling. And also just the whole idea of layering, how you can just mix and match anything, almost. Almost. Wow. I don't know. I think I mix and match everything that I get my hands on. But this was a fun trip, and the mountains in the background of the photo. I think that the cheesecloth, just crinkling it up, and putting more than a larger piece on my 12 by 12 paper, and adding the Mod Podge really gave it different levels. And you can use anything when you're layering. It doesn't have to just be your paper. So adding cheesecloth uh, to layering is great. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to paint it or anything like that. You can even just leave it plain and take different layers of cheesecloth, just plain cheesecloth, and throw it all over the background of a page with paper. And I think that would look really cool. Now that I've said it, I got to try it. Can't say it and not try it. And that green cloth-like paper doesn't want to stick with just regular glue normally. So I always have to use a heat gun. But it's this wonderful cloth paper. And I actually found another sheet of it in red the other day, which means, you have too much paper when you keep finding something that you think you're out of. But anyway, I know I got it at Michael's, and every time I'm in Michael's, I look for cloth paper because it just adds so much texture and dimension to a layout, and I really like that look. And when I'm layering, what I'm trying to do is just take a small edge of the paper to have it show through, just enough to give those layers. And what's happening on the back of this photo and the layering is that it keeps getting thicker and thicker, but because the terrain that I'm working on, the cheesecloth, is very lumpy, in order to keep my photo from caving in, eventually I'm going to have to add like maybe fun foam to it. And it wasn't until I started doing the voiceover that I realized I left the R out of adventure. So I do fix that at the very end, right before the stills. So what I wanted to say about my background paper, um, how it's lumpy and it has all these different levels to it, in trying to create or recreate the background scene in the photo. I was surprised. I was truly surprised by how it came out. I didn't expect it um, to look uh, the way it did. It came out much better than what was in my head, which which is great. What was in my head looked good, but this is much better. Uh, it really has like twists and turns to it, and it looks like the scene in the background of the photo is carried onto the background. And I could have gone out and gotten paper, maybe I have paper, of some sort of mountain scene in the background. But because I really want to go wild with layering here, and because I really like every once in a while, and maybe more than once in a while, um, creating an a very interesting background for my photos, I decided to like take the longer road. And I don't know, I think it's fun sometimes when you're just experimenting and you really don't know how something's going to turn out and you just try it and it works and you're like, wow. And it wasn't really hard to do at all. I mean, you saw what I was doing. It was really, um, really, I don't know, I don't want to say simple, but it wasn't difficult at all. It wasn't hard. It wasn't uh, something that, I mean, if I can do it, I always feel like anyone can do it. Uh, because I don't know, I just feel like I'm not making it complicated what I'm doing here. Um, so just, easily taking cheesecloth and, making some sort of design while you're putting down a Mod Podge. And I didn't really pay attention to um, what the cheesecloth was doing except for one part was I wanted to leave an open space in the center of the paper for my layout, for my photo. And when I started doing the layering and bringing it out, there were areas that I just definitely didn't want to cover up on the background. So I don't take, just a heads up, I'm going to stop layering soon. I don't go beyond um, the point where I'm covering up all this work that I just did on the background paper. And it would be okay if that's what, I guess the spirit of scrapbooking took me, but it didn't take me there. And it's neat because I think about all the different things that you can use when you're layering besides paper and cheesecloth. You can even add in your embellishments as part of layering. Um, because you can layer your embellishments. Anything that goes, I guess I think of anything that you're placing on top of something else. Uh, and not just maybe one embellishment, but several embellishments. If you're, especially when you have the chipboards, to take a page and to lay down a bunch of chipboards. And I think I saw someone do that a long time ago when I first started watching videos. Um, I want to say Wilma somebody. I can't think of her name right now, but if I do, I'll put it below. Uh, and she took like chipboards that she wasn't using and put them all over a piece of paper and then painted on top of that, and it looked so cool what she did. Something I might have to scrap lift once I find that video or look at her work and see what it is, but I will put it below. So this photo was taken at one of our first stops along the way. We were going from Maryland to Illinois driving, a nice 12-hour drive. And this is Cumberland, Maryland, where we stopped. And it's a beautiful area, um, a great little stop, and it has an observation deck, and there are parks around. It's beautiful. So we always stop there when we can, whenever we're driving by there, um, just to take a breather and look at the view, which is awesome. And every time we go there, my daughter says, "Do you know that they took dynamite and blew the mountain up to make the roads?" And she wants to be an environmental lawyer, so every time she knows all these little tidbits about the environment and places we go, and I wonder where she stores it in her head sometimes. But uh, I think it's interesting whenever we go someplace, she seems to find something, uh, something to teach me, and it doesn't all go to waste. I actually remember some of the things that she tells me, um, and it inspires me to treat the environment much better, to be kind. Anyway, I'm sticking fun foam underneath my photo and the layering so that once it's all glued down and I'm settled in here, the photo settled in, that uh, it's leveled and the photo's not, because what's underneath isn't even. I want my photo, however, to be even and to lay right so that once it's in a photo album, it stays nice and flat. And because this was so layered, I did put it in my album inside of the protective sleeve, and it fits and it looks great. So we're coming to an end here. I blinged it out, and I really like the textures that are in here. Add in one more little note, and I've added in my R. And these are some close-ups so that you can really see the texture and the layers that the cheesecloth gave the background, and then the paper layers. I hope you have a great day. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Happy scrapbooking. And one more thing, the sister page, I will put the link to that video below, and see you next time.